What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here. Going to be talking about Dana White's Contender Series 2022 alumni who are now making their debuts in the UFC. And Dana White's Contender Series 2022 is actually still happening right now, which makes it even more awesome that we've got 6 fighters that are making their debut so soon after fighting on the Contender Series. I love to see the activeness. I feel like in Dana White's Contender Series 2021, we saw a lot of guys make their debuts so much later after they fought on the Contender Series, and then a lot of those 2021 fighters didn't have a lot of success in their debuts either. And open and honest, man, to spoil the whole video, I'm not picking a lot of these guys that have already accepted fights to win their debuts either. But some of them are going to look very good, some of them are going to win in very impressive fashion, and I think that Joseph Pyfer should win his debut in pretty impressive fashion. I think he's going to win by KO. He knocked out Ozzy Diaz by KO in the first round. And I think Ozzy Diaz would knock out Alan Amedovski in the first round. So I think that Joseph Pyfer is going to knock out Alan Amedovski in the first round, you know? Sorry, he knocked out Ozzy Diaz by KO in the second round. But that's not the point. I mean, Alan Amedovski got knocked out in 14 seconds by John Phillips. And then in about a minute, he got knocked down and submitted by Joseph Holmes. Like, I feel like as soon as Alan Amedovski lost to John Phillips, the UFC gave up on him as a prospect, you know, and they fed him to Joseph Holmes to maybe test Joseph Holmes, see if he is really UFC level. He passed the Amedovski test. Let's see if Joseph Pyfer passes the Amedovski test. I think he should be able to knock him out in the first round. Amedovski has no striking defense. Like, his striking defense is just non-existent. In fact, to this day, it amazes me that he went to decision with Krzysztof Jotko, but it is what it is. I think Joseph Pyfer knocks him out in the first round. Now, Jefferson Armada versus Anton is your next Dana White's Contender Series alumni matchup, and Anton actually the first fighter from Dana White's Contender Series 2022 to make their UFC debut, although he wasn't awarded a contract. This guy was not awarded a contract. Dana White was not happy with Anton Turkalj's performance. He won by decision. It was pretty lackluster, but prior to the UFC, Turkalj has been on a tear. He knocked out a guy in about 30 seconds with a spinning back fist. I think it was even less than that actually. Submitted a guy that was 8-0 and has been on a very good tear, and he's built up a nice 8-0 record for himself. But he's taking on Jailton Almeida, who's an absolute savage at both light heavyweight and heavyweight. I think Almeida does win this one. But Turkalj, man, he must have a wheelbarrow to carry those balls around for taking this fight. Because I guarantee you this, Anton Turkalj was definitely not the first person they called to take this fight, and I highly doubt he was the second person they called to take this fight either. I guarantee you they called multiple people before they called Anton Turkalj to take the fight, and Anton Turkalj took the fight. He's got a lot of respect from me. I like Turkalj's chances potentially if the fight stays on the feet at landing something, but I think that Almeida really will take him down and win the fight in the grappling pretty easily. But if the fight's on the feet, Turkalj is live. He really is. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Jared Vanderaa. I believe Waldo Cortez Acosta will win his debut here and remain undefeated. He's a great prospect for heavyweight, and I really like him. And I like him in this matchup because Jared Vandeeraa's fight IQ is non-existent. This guy just has no fight IQ whatsoever. So he fought Alexei Olenek, and he decided to wrestle and grapple with Olenek. Weird fight IQ. And then he fought Chase Sherman, and I thought, hey man, like, he's got wrestling. Chase Sherman is showing a very big weakness to wrestlers and grapplers, and he decides to box with Chase Sherman. And what's the one thing that Chase Sherman does well in MMA? And that's boxing. That's probably Chase Sherman's only real skill set that he has that keeps him competitive in the UFC. And it's just a good boxing face. And Jared Vandeeraa's like, yep, I'll box with Chase Sherman, and gets knocked out. So, yeah, Waldo Cortez Acosta, a great boxer. He hits hard. He defeated Danilo Souza. To be fair, though, I would actually pick Jared Vanderaa to defeat Danilo Souza, so I don't rate that win super highly. But I would pick Thomas Peterson to defeat Jared Vanderaa, because Thomas Peterson is a great prospect in the LFA right now. And also Moderice as well is a good win to have on your record too, because he fought in PFL, I believe, in 2021. And Bellator as well, obviously, with Cortez Acosta. But Cortez Acosta by KO is the pick. I think he's going to look great in this matchup. Now, Francis Marshall versus Marcelo Rojo. I might have a very controversial prediction here. I'm picking Marcelo Rojo to win the matchup. 84% of people are picking Marshall, 16% are picking Rojo. And I know that Francis Marshall did look good. in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, but you've got to look at the opponent that he fought. You really do. And I picked Francis Marshall to win his fight just because I liked what I saw out of him. I saw more tape out of him because Conor Matthews, his opponent, had finished all of his fights in the first round very quickly against not great competition. So Francis Marshall, you look at his record, who's he fought? A 4-0 guy in his debut, brilliant. And then debuting guy, 3-2, 24-30, 7-6, and 5-0. And now he's fighting Marcelo Rojo, who is 16-8, but he's got experience against some high-level competition, and that was what Francis Marshall lacks. And that is what was shown in his Contender Series fight. He had opportunity to finish the fight on multiple occasions, and he couldn't do it. And I feel like he was showing just a lack of experience against high-level competition. And Conor Matthews, the same sort of thing. He debuted against a guy that was 0-7, 1-8. 2-1, 15-97, and 1-2. This guy had only fought one person with a winning record, and they were 2-1. Conor Matthews was fighting nobodies, and so was Francis Marshall as well. This guy's really padded his record against not the greatest competition whatsoever. And Marcelo Rojo, although he's 16-8, he's been in there with some very, very good levels of competition, man. Like Marcelo Rojo before the UFC, man. He come in and he fought GC Strader, who was 3-0, yes, but he made it into the UFC eventually. John Castaneda, UFC fighter, guy that was 9-2. Charles Jourdain in his debut. Kyler Phillips in his second fight in the UFC. And even before that, he fought on the Ultimate Fighter Latin America Season 3. Claudio Puelles in there as well. You know, and he's just been fighting high levels of competition. He's just been having competitive fights just against better fighters, you know, and I can't pick a guy that's so inexperienced like Francis Marshall against a veteran in Marcelo Rojo. Move on. Now, Tough on Nchukwi versus Jamal Pogues. And the weight class of which this fight is at really does dictate my pick. If it's at 205, I'm going to pick Tough on Nchukwi. But if it's at heavyweight, I will be picking Jamal Pogues in this matchup here. Tapology has it listed as a heavyweight fight, but maybe my memory is completely deceiving me, but I remember when I saw this fight being announced, it was announced at light heavyweight. So maybe something's changed in the midst of that. Maybe Jamal Pogues has decided that he doesn't want to fight at light heavyweight. Maybe Jamal Pogues has decided that he's not going to be able to lose the weight in time for 205 pounds in December, I believe it is. Because Jamal Pogues was a big boy. And then he hadn't fought for about 2 years. He got a short notice call up at heavyweight to fight Paulo Renato Jr., and he looked pretty good in that fight, man. He outboxed him on the feet. Didn't really throw a lot of volume, but I believe he did win the fight. It was competitive. My dog is trying to chew my sock right now, which is why I'm wrestling with something on the ground. Hey, yeah. Do you want to make yourself known? But yeah, so, I swear when I saw this fight made, though, I thought I saw it at 205. But as I was saying, Jamal Pogues steps in on short notice, Dana White's Contender Series at heavyweight. Looks pretty good. Looks out of shape. He did look very out of shape, to be fair. But, yeah, he said that he was going to trim the fat, trim the weight, and fight at 205 pounds. And now I think he's staying at heavyweight, and I like the move. I think Jamal Pogues has a much higher ceiling at heavyweight than he does at light heavyweight, because light heavyweight, if you look at that division, it's underrated. The very bottom feeders of that division are like Ihor Pateria, Tough on Nchukwi, like guys that are just gonna be able to beat Jamal Pogues, in my opinion. Like yeah, I think Jamal Pogues has a much higher chance at going on a run at heavyweight, you know. And Tough on Nchukwi is obviously trying to change up something in his career, moving up a weight class to 265 pounds, if that is the weight class the fight's at. I think Jamal Pogues wins if it's heavyweight. If it's at light heavyweight, I like Nchukwi. I know that's a very weird way of saying it, but Pogues is a good wrestler. He's a good wrestler, and that's his base. I know he didn't do any wrestling whatsoever against Renato Jr., which is frustrating, maybe if you're looking at this matchup. But I think if he does wrestle Nchukwi, he really should have a lot of success and win the fight, because he's going to be so much bigger at heavyweight. You move on to the final fight. Denise Gomez, she only fought a couple of weeks ago on Dana White's Contender Series against Ryan Amanda, and Dana White loved the fight. He liked Ryan Amanda in that fight as well, interestingly enough, but Denise Gomez beat her up. Looks like a savage. She's got a crazy neck tattoo now, and she's fighting Loma Lookboonmee. And Loma Lookboonmee, I believe, should win this fight by decision. She's the much more technical striker out of the two, out of Denise Gomez and Loma. And I think the fight will take place on the feet. Denise Gomez, for the most part, in the past, her fights had been standing. Bear, what are you doing? Bear. so I don't know what my dog's up to. But yeah, in the past, Denise Gomez, all of her fights have really taken place on the feet. The whole fight on the Dana White's Contender Series took place on the feet, so I think that Denise Gomez should win. Sorry, Loma Lookboonmee should win a striking battle, and so are people picking. That's the video. I'm trying to get back to daily uploads. Not uploading as much as Artem MMA does, but definitely uploading at least a video every day. This was a 10-minute video. That's pretty long. I just realized like 10-minute videos kind of like that length that you get your ad revenue out of. That wasn't intentional whatsoever, but I guess we'll go over the card to make it look a little bit longer. Oops. Yeah, Alan Amadovsky versus Joseph Piper. Joseph Piper should win that one by KO. Gelton Almeida versus Anton Dracauge. Gelton Almeida should win that one by submission. Cortez Acosta versus Jared Vandiera. Cortez Acosta should win by KO. Marshall versus Rojo. Rojo probably should win the fight. But yeah, what are you up to? What are you looking for? And then tough one on Chukwui versus Jamal Pogues. I'm going to pick Pogues at heavyweight. Going to pick in Chukwui at light heavyweight. Denise Gomez versus Loma Lookboonmee. Going to pick Loma Lookboonmee to win a decision in that one there. Let's call it there. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Appreciate the view. Appreciate everything. Please leave me a comment if you made it this far in the video. And I'll see you in the next one. I love Dana White's Contender Series. I love that these guys have been active. Also, Vinicius Salvador was meant to fight Gleison Rodriguez. But that fight got cancelled. So someone else is fighting Gleison Rodriguez. And I can't remember who it is. And let's find out. My typing is so slow, and I am sorry, because my face is so close to my microphone there. It must have been so loud. He's fighting Cody Durden. Okay. Oh, okay. Tough matchup for Rodriguez, considering he got taken down in the third round. He didn't lose to Vergara, though. Like, he got robbed, but Durden should win that matchup, maybe. Maybe Rodriguez is overhyped. Anyway. That's not the point of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.